the Castle Capes and Clones vlogcast, in which we discuss the Disney issues of the day. In this episode, we will be talking about Tower of Terror, Spider-Woman, Rise of the Resistance, and more. We are Castle Capes and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney. Welcome to Castle Capes and Clones vlogcast, where we discuss the Disney issues of the day. Today, we're going to be talking about Tower of Terror, Spider-Woman, Rise of the Resistance, and more. We are Castles, Capes, and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post. Hey everybody, my name is Loren, and I'm with my cousin and co-pilot Rich.
Hello.
How's it going?
Going all right? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I have been watching Luca over and over again.
I still have yet to see
And
it.
yeah, I think it has knocked Onward out of my fifth favorite Pixar film.
Huh.
So it goes up, Inside Out, The Incredibles, Coco, and now Luca, and then Onward is number 6. There's just something really, I don't want to build. I don't want to increase your expectations, but it's just, to me, it's just such a charming film, like just a coming of age story, and just about friendship, and in this beautiful Italian setting. I just really love it.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. Yeah, I'll probably see it this weekend.
Yeah, I need to do a review of it, and I forgot about it, so I need to do that. I'll do it under the guise of it is now one of my favorite Pixar movies.
There you go.
I just wanted to say, if anybody's out there, please leave a comment and just to let us know that they're there, and hopefully people will trickle in. We're still trying to, grow. So we thank anybody who comes by, even just for a little bit. All right, so let's start in the Disney news. Turning Red, which is the Pixar film coming out next year, it is going to be Pixar's return to the theater. So, Luca and Soul and kind of Onward were all released on Disney Plus, and there was like a lot of you know discussion about the creators at Pixar not being satisfied that their work is just going on to Disney Plus. And so next year it's going to go that Turning Red is the movie about the little girl who turns into a red panda when she gets stressed out, and it just sounds like an interesting concept. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm curious. What do you think?
I mean, like it's a hard situation for creators because, yeah, you want your work to be shown on a theater, but there was
Hmm.
so much uncertainty during the
Yeah.
last year that you know, like I can understand the business aspect of it. You have this thing, and if you just keep holding on to it, it not only doesn't mean like your subscribers, your the people who actually go out to support your product has nothing,
Hmm.
right? And that's part of the problem. It's like, okay, so all these movies that came out in the last year, if none of that came out, then what was going to happen to all those companies? There's no revenue.
Yeah.
There's nothing like who knows what would have happened to Disney Plus if they didn't have Soul, if they didn't
Hmm.
have Mulan come out, if they didn't have Hamilton come out. 'Cause that was also supposed to be, I believe, a theatrical release,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So if nothing was coming out except for your normal Disney Plus shows, like that
Yeah.
were meant for it, I don't know if Disney would have been able to be as profitable as they were
Hmm.
in the midst of other companies also not putting out stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I get the being upset, but then it's like, okay, then what's the alternative,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um,
It was just such a tricky time.
yeah, like even now, if it came out now, same problem.
Right.
Not everyone is ready to go out. Not all the theaters are. It still would have not hit the way you would have hoped because of this the way the world is right now. And
Yeah.
especially here in the U.S., you got to remember that it's not like this everywhere. We're
Hmm.
while at one point we were probably one of the worst countries in the pandemic. We've like thankfully have turned that around, but that's not the same for all countries. Like, so your global market, which for a lot of movies is a big part of it, would also not be there. So,
Hmm.
you know, um, I mean, if it's the first one, cool.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But I
Yeah. By next year, hopefully things will. I mean, things are starting to return to normal. I went to lunch today, wore no mask, and sat inside.
yeah, we went to Disneyland over the weekend, and for the most part, we didn't wear masks, especially outside, and even like we kind of relaxed a little bit and didn't wear it too much inside places.
Right.
It helps that it's still not full capacity,
Yeah.
so it's easy to kind of navigate around people. But I mean, it was like weird, right? Because like we've been doing it for like a year and plus.
Hmm.
So I remember us just walk. I remember just me just walking around feeling, I won't say naked, but like a little bit like
Yeah.
you're naked.
It
Like,
does. It doesn't feel like you're naked. How? But how was? I can't believe that we haven't talked about this. How was Disneyland?
so for everybody, like when Lauren went, it was still it was pre June 15th, which is when all the
Yeah.
kind of like mandates were lifted. So when I went, which was the 19th, it was a weekend, right? Um, I mean, it was kind of like I said, it was weird. Outside, no one wears a mask outside. Like maybe a 1% of the people outside are wearing masks.
Hmm.
Inside, it's a little bit similar. You know,
Yeah.
no one's asking for any kind of proof that you're vaccinated, so it's one of those weird. You know, I'm looking around going like, I'm pretty sure not everyone here is vaccinated, but they're still walking around without masks.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I mean, but there's like I said, it's not at full capacity, so there's a lot of room to avoid people if necessary. The lines we were in, people tended to stay a little bit, maybe not the full 6 feet like we used to, but 2 to 3 feet away, so they're not really up against you. But wait times were still pretty low compared to pre-pandemic.
What was how was the was there any line to get into Adventure Campus?
To get in, no, but it was like you can tell that was probably the most crowded place.
Yeah.
So like when we went, we didn't get to like the Pim's Kitchen there's like a standby line was too long, and we didn't. I guess we had like wrong information, and we didn't like pre-plan to get stuff, so we didn't get to try anything.
The food.
Yeah, we did try the Terran treats. That's what we did.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to try any of that.
So
how was it?
The purple thing. That's pretty good. It's like a cream puff, but like with raspberry cream filling, but a little bit more dense than a normal cream puff. I like it. The churro, basically it's just a churro. It's a pineapple flavored churro that's in a swirl instead of a stick. I liked it, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to get it again. The purple thing though, that's pretty good.
You would get that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Did you try the shawarma?
No. Line was too long.
Really? On both carts?
Yes.
Wow.
There's no like when you went, they limited people in.
Yeah, that's true.
They did not. It was pretty much open. So there's like a lot of people when in that area. We didn't get to see any of the shows either.
Yeah.
I mean, like
they're gonna really need to expand. They're gonna really need to expand at one point.
What was interesting is that we stayed there the whole day, and then our agenda wasn't Avengers Campus. Our agenda was it was my sister's birthday. We had my niece there, so it was really just we went, we experienced a little bit of it, but most of it was about Disneyland for them. But we did go back at night because we wanted to see Avengers Campus at night.
Yeah.
Which looks amazing at night.
Yeah, that's what I wish that I had seen it at night.
What's interesting and what you might have experienced if you went back is you probably could have gotten web slingers, because at some point they start letting people in because all the passes are gone.
Ooh.
So,
okay, that's good to know.
Like we got there like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes before closing, and they were just letting people in up until 9 o'clock, like the point it closed.
Okay, that's good to know, because
we had we had a little kid with us. We couldn't do that. If we were by ourselves, we probably would have done it. But, it was getting late. My dad was there too, so he was there the whole day with us, and so
it's probably like my mom. She's like, okay, let's go.
Well, I mean, like we did. He did go home for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, he didn't. He didn't go home. The plan was he was going to, but then he just ended up staying the whole time. So
what a trooper.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that it sounded like you had a good time, and you got the goggles and everything.
Got the goggles, and I got a spider bot also.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'll do my own unboxing of it. I got the Black Panther.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A tactical edition or whatever it's called. The upgrade, tactical upgrade.
Yeah. I just call it the armor. The Black Widow one looks good too, though.
It was. I just like purple, so the black and purple. That's kind of what it went with. Like, it was really
all of them are really. Cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like I like the Wasp one because the Wasp has wings. That's kind of cool. I like the color scheme of Black Widow as well. But at the end of the day,
Did
I
you get
think the
the?
black and purple,
Did you get
the
what
web
was
slinger
it?
thingy.
Yeah, the web slinger.
No,
No.
not yet. I'm probably gonna try to go again before the summer is out and get it then. Um, but I also did like our niece, Cassiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She knows Spider-Man. I'm not sure how she knows Spider-Man, but then also, they have these demonstrations everywhere with the spider bots and whatnot. And then at first she was kind of afraid of them, but
Oh.
she was very curious about them. So every time she
Mm-hmm.
saw one, she'd point to it until she just wanted to see them. Right? She's like a little bit apprehensive, but at the same time, it would seem to be very intriguing to her.
How cute.
So I bought her the small one. There's like
The small
the small
one.
one that kind of
Oh.
just walks around.
Yeah.
Like, because she's also obsessed with like my brother-in-law has that first small BB-8
Yeah.
toy that used to roll around and it was app controlled, and she was afraid of that, but she was also like obsessed with it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
To the point like she ran away from it and whatever, but eventually she
She loved
touched it and played with it and whatever. Same thing with the spider bot. At first, she was like scared of it, but at the same time, she wanted to see it walk around
Yeah.
until the point
That's
where she
perfect
could touch
for her.
it and whatever. So,
Yeah, that small one is perfect for her.
yeah. So,
So that's awesome. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I did. Yeah, I realized that I had not talked to you since you came back from. Did you do both parks?
Yes, we did.
Okay, you did Park Hopper.
Yeah. Well, we did
All
most
right.
of the things we wanted to. So,
Well, you saw everything you wanted to see. Did you go on the Snow White?
no, did
Too
not.
long.
That is again not one of my sister's favorite. So,
Oh, yeah.
the important ones were
That's
like
right.
Little Mermaid, Small World, Winnie the Pooh, like stuff that. And also, we're not sure how Cassiana would take some of those rides.
Yeah.
Right, so that one, even though it's not the Snow White Scary Adventures anymore, there's
Right.
like some scary parts still in there.
Yeah. What are some favorite
So
parts?
we stuck with like kind of the classic, like more little kid friendly kind
Mhm.
of things. More of the Mark Twain. She loved that. Or the train.
You go on the Emotional Whirlwind.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
Nice.
yeah, it was a good day. I want to go back. Now that I know that you can get on web slingers, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think part of it also is that since there's nothing to do at night, right? There's no parades, there's no fireworks, so I think families tend to leave early.
Yeah.
Because I think like I remember before we went and when everything kind of opened up, we watched YouTube videos of people, and there's all these pictures of like crowds and like this line down Harbor Boulevard. But I just realized like timestamp wise, I'm like, all that happened before park opening, so people were just massing before the park opened. But once the park opened, those crowds dispersed into the parks.
Right.
So this seems to me like right now, because one, there's no annual passes, so everyone wants to kind of maximize their day. Everyone tries to get there at opening,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like rides tend to be busier then, but as people trickle in and people are spread out more, I think like people wind up doing almost everything they want to do earlier than normal. So, and there's nothing to really keep them at night, so they kind of skedaddle
Yeah.
by that late, right? So that's kind of probably why it looked like Web Slingers was like open and whatever. But I don't know how long that's going to last, because fireworks start next.
In World of Color.
Like this starts on the 4th. Well, fireworks start on the 4th. I don't know when World of Color or anything starts.
Right.
Or the parade. The parades are still not. They haven't said anything about parades yet.
I want the parade. I have not seen the new parade.
Yeah,
So-
that began like shortly before the pandemic, right? The new
Yeah, just like shortly before, it didn't have very many performances.
yeah.
So
I seem to
I'm
remember that.
hoping that
Yeah.
it'll come back and
I don't know.
yeah,
Like
I'm gonna.
I don't know if that didn't bring that back for the first parade opening or bring something like bring back the Main Street Electrical Parade as a classic.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know
Yeah.
what they're gonna do, but yeah, I wanna try to go sometime soonish before it gets crazy again. But
Right.
you know, I also like probably after the Jungle Cruise opens, I want to go
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
that's gonna be all
Well,
different.
maybe we can figure out. Maybe we can like plan, and maybe I can try to get down there again too.
Yarp, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's continue on with the news.
Yeah.
So Rachel Zegler is going to be playing Snow White in the live-action film, and unfortunately, I didn't write down who Rachel Zegler is. But I think that it's very interesting. I don't know if the picture that they had, she looked like Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, I don't know where she is from.
Yeah.
If only we
Yeah.
had the internet.
If only we had the internet to tell us where she's from.
I mean, she hasn't done a
Um,
lot. Um, oh, you know where she is? Like we're gonna
mhm.
see her. Is she's gonna be in West Side Story?
Oh,
Yeah, so
as
that's
Maria?
where. Yes, she is Maria.
Oh, okay. Wow. I cannot wait for the movie.
Yeah, so the West Side Story is the Steven Spielberg directed version,
Hmm.
which everything I've seen of that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it
But
does.
she is so her only credits that I see is West Side Story. That's the first credit,
Hmm.
and then she's going to be in Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Well, that's kind of nice though that they have somebody that's relatively unknown.
Yeah, I wonder who
Yeah,
she's going to be in Shazam. It's only listed as a
I know.
mysterious key role. maybe she's maybe she's Isis.
Right. Yeah.
Then
Who
I wonder
knows?
if Dwayne Johnson's gonna be like a role in there somewhere, a
Yeah.
little cameo or something.
Right.
But that's the other company.
Yeah. All right. Well, this story, I thought at first I was going to file it under Marvel, but
Oh yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, I guess, is going to produce and star in Disney's new Tower of Terror film. I wonder if Steve
I
Gutenberg
was
is
just
going
saying, like, I wonder if it's gonna be a continuation of the Steve Gutenberg. Is it
to.
Steve
Yeah.
Gutenberg and Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
want them
remember
to
it.
have
I don't.
cameos in the film.
Oh my! I would like have him be a bellhop. I wonder though, like, what is she going to like? I wonder if it's going to be closer to the story of the tower itself, like the
I'm
whole Twilight
sure.
Zone aspect of it, or they're gonna
I
go with
hope
some
so.
other like it is a hotel. Like I don't remember I don't remember the movie for the good Steve Gutenberg what it
Yeah,
was
I can't.
about. I don't even
I
know if I
can't
saw it.
remember anything.
Like I remember I know the image of like the cover, right?
Hmm.
Because it looked very cheap.
Yeah,
Looked very home video-y.
I know I saw it, but I just can't remember anything.
Yeah, because I wonder. Yeah, my curiosity is like, okay, what story are they gonna go with, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if they don't go with the ride story, there's also the possibility of how that movie might connect to that weird Disney park universe, right?
Hmm.
Um, so who knows? But
Yeah.
It's got Scarlett Johansson backing it, so like she's producing. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, I don't know, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what she does with it and what direction they go. And
I love ScarJo.
Yeah, and I know our sometimes guest Tom will be very interested to see what direction they go with this because he loved the Tower of Terror.
Right.
Yeah. He still laments the day that it turned into the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. But as I keep telling him, I still believe the more superior version of that ride is the one in Florida.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely the one in Florida. But I love Mission Breakout. It's one of my favorites. So, anyway. All right. Well, there has been some Hocus Pocus 2 news. It looks like there's going to be an aspiring witch named Becca, which she's going to have some friends, and they're going to accidentally bring the Sanderson sisters back using the dark flame candle. And this kind of coincides with what the Hollywood Reporter has reported about 3 young women accidentally bringing the Sanderson sisters back to modern day Salem. And I'm all in.
You were in when they said Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, as soon as they said Hocus Pocus 2, I was like, I'm in.
I'm curious. I'll watch it.
Well, I'm in as long as it had the three witches. Yeah.
So if they went with not them not coming back, but like say it was more like Thora Birch led,
right?
And something else happens.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't be as excited, but I'd watch it. I definitely.
I wonder what they would have done if one of them was like, "No."
I know.
Like Sarah Jessica Parker was like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, I just I don't want to think about it.
But I feel like the 3 of them love those characters, and I think the years after have gave them like a bigger fan base because I think it found its legs, later on. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't get the vibe that any of them hate it. I don't get the Harrison Ford vibes.
Right.
From it. So, it sounds like maybe it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like The Craft.
I think it's
Disney meets Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. All right. Well, Disney Plus is going to have a second season of Big Shot. I'm surprised they haven't said anything about Mighty Ducks, but
that's the one I'm hoping for because I haven't seen Big Shot. But I really like the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, I still have to watch it, but I need to watch at least the first 2 films before I go into the. I mean,
show. The first one definitely like to get caught up on Gordon's main story.
Yeah.
The subsequent ones, not
I think I could skip
as
those.
much.
Okay.
I mean, there's enough context and kind of like exposition in the series where you kind of understand how he ends up from the first movie to where he is now, and what happened to the Mighty Ducks. So that's not like maybe 2 helps more. 3, nah. I mean, there's enough context in the show that 3 is not like. Plus, Gordon Bombay was like barely in that one, so.
Okay, so I'm just gonna at least watch the first film. Because it's got Lauren Graham in it. Hello, how can I not watch a show with Lauren Graham in it?
I know, especially after you finally watched not Golden Girls, Gilmore
Girls. I know.
Years
now
later.
I'm obsessed. then I went directly into Parenthood after that.
Nice.
So I had a whole Warren Graham fest.
Yeah, I like. I mean, I'm a fan of her. I love the Gilmore Girls, but then I'm also a very big Emilio Estevez fan. So
Yeah.
you know, it was a no brainer for me. Like, I do want to watch Big Shot though, since this is technically about Big Shot. Like, because I also like John Stamos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my favorite character from Full House.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll probably give that a go now that I watched all of Mighty Ducks, and you know, it's in little chunks. I'm more prone to watch little things here and there, little short. Like Mighty Ducks is like half an hour, right? So I'm assuming Big Shots is probably similar, and I can do those. I can do that more often than sit down for a full length feature, which is why I have not seen Cruella yet, even though I bought it. And I haven't seen Luca yet.
If I can invest time in High School Musical, the musical series, I can invest time in Mighty Ducks. I'm obsessed with High School Musical, the musical series.
Yes, you are.
That's my guilty pleasure.
Nice.
All right. Well, Disney Plus has released a trailer for Turner and Hooch. And did you get a chance to watch it?
I did.
I love how the dog looks exactly like Hooch. Yeah.
And it kind of
crazy.
Acts like it. So
yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, why? You know, blah 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 blah.
I say why not?
I said, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're like, we should have brought Tom Hanks back. Like, come on. let's be
honest. Should have. What did you say?
Bring Tom Hanks back. Like, come on.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is not.
He's still Tom
Hanks is a god. He's not gonna wanna.
Like, Tom Hanks in the Turner Hooch days is not Tom Hanks now. Like, there was He's considered like, you know, like a acting icon. Like, you know.
I know.
Back then,
I think about his career.
Starting from Bosom Buddies.
From Bosom Buddies to, and like all of those, like, and I loved all of his films.
Yeah, like this is the era. Like Turner Hooch was like when he was playing like the goofy, comedic, you know, slacker kind of characters. Yeah, like this is definitely. Yeah, I think like his turning point was like Forrest Gump in Philadelphia, and then he became like a super actor. Right?
Yeah, that's when he.
You know, I think Big was his like last kind of like, I'm gonna play the goofy
simple film.
Like, you know what I mean? But
that film.
That movie, like, I feel like he was super popular, but like Big made him super popular, and then he had like that time period, like he had like a string of just like not just like commercial hits, but like a critical acclaim for his roles. So, but yeah, this Turner Hooch is pre that. So,
it's crazy.
Sure, if he never had his like, now he is Tom Hanks actor,
right?
Years maybe, but like, he's not gonna do a series. At least not right now. He's still highly sought over and like viable, and you know. Still popular, so I mean, you know, unless he just wanted to off chance do this, but I don't think he's at the point where like he can take time and be in a series. You know what I mean?
Plus, we know what happened to Hooch in the movie.
Yeah.
And oh hey, it's Tim Clarissa. Hello. We're just discussing the news, so if you have any questions, let us know.
But I like the trailer. I like the vibe, and I don't think it's gonna end tragically. I don't think it's gonna happen. Well, it's a series.
I don't think it. I don't think it's.
I don't think they want to traumatize kids in the TV Disney Plus era.
But that dog just looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I like it. People were
Yeah.
also like, they should have got Colin Hanks. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I think people don't realize like Colin Hanks is also older than people think he is. Like he's been
Yeah.
around a while.
So,
Like this guy, like this is like Colin Hanks would have been perfect 10 years ago,
right.
right? But now Colin Hanks is like he's like a director. He's like a producer. So like I think this is also kind of past where he would have made sense to be in it.
Yeah.
I mean, cool, but if they did this 10 years ago, I think they could have done it.
Mm.
But yeah.
All right. Well, in Marvel news, we're moving to Marvel news. It looks like Black Widow is going to be a big hit. It is tracking at also at an opening weekend of 90 million, which sounds low for a Marvel film, but not in this time.
No,
It
anything
sounds
above like 15 to 30 million is like
yeah, is
I think that's right now the
blockbuster.
measurement of success is like 15 to 30.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a big win. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying that the action is like some of the best in Marvel history, and that Florence Pugh is a scene stealer, and people are looking forward to seeing more of her. So, but
Yeah.
a lot of people say there's a lot of intense action scenes. So I'm
Yeah.
all in for it.
It makes sense, because Black Widow is more of a close combat fighter, right? She doesn't have powers, so everything she does is mostly in your face kind of things. And even though the little bit we've seen,
Yeah.
the car sequence and all those kind of things, like it looks pretty good. She was
Yeah.
on one of the talk shows, and she was talking about it, and she kind of was able to reveal that we will find out what happened in Budapest. That and like the story that they brought up in Avengers, and then they talked about it briefly in Endgame, Endgame.
Yeah. I
That
think so.
one of those movies.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. If that means that Jeremy Renner is going to have like a little, maybe it's a flashback or something.
Yeah. Maybe he'll be in a cameo.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, they've done it to us before.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing we haven't seen a lot of in the trailers and stuff is Taskmaster. Like, not really.
Yeah.
But
I know.
I mean, he's in the Avengers campus, like one of the action show thingies. So he must have. I mean, he's the villain of the movie. But I'm curious how his character plays out in that movie.
Right. I'm still convinced that they gender bended him. Because when I look at him, he has a more petite frame. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Maybe.
I might be totally wrong, and it might just be some kind of thin guy.
It's very possible.
Yeah, so who knows? All right, well, there are just maybe an hour ago, Marvel released a trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And in that trailer, we see the Abomination, who is from the Incredible Hulk movie, in this movie. And yeah, what did you think of the trailer?
I liked it. Like, it's funny. Like when I saw what looked like Abomination, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, the thing for me is we saw the dragon in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd see it here at Talk or something,
Right.
but we did not. But it looks pretty cool. Like, I've seen what it looks like in toy form,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I have the pop thing.
I'm just like, all right, but you don't get the sense of scale because it's a toy, so.
Right.
But it looks pretty massive, like
Yeah.
in where it was, and it was underwater, so it's kind of cool.
It would be funny if it was voiced by Aquafina.
Right.
Just Aquafina voices all of the dragons.
It would have been awesome if it was a combination of Aquafina and Eddie Murphy.
And Eddie Murphy, guys.
They just combined two voices together.
The voices. That would be so funny.
But like,
and Billy Barty,
yeah.
Figment.
What I liked about it is like we get a little more of the story about his mother, Michelle Yao. Yeah. Michelle Yao. And it looks like it's almost reminds me a little bit of like the Frigga Odin thing. Like, not to say that Odin was evil, but like, he's a little bit more harsher with his kids, whereas Frigga was a little more caring and whatever, and has a different aspect to her, and gave like we know like Loki kind of like took under her wing, right? This looks now that Shang-Chi, like, yes, is trained by his father's maniacal methods, but she seems to be like that kind of classic wushu warrior kind of thing, and I think he's inherited that as well. So I think that's going to come to play where he's more about his strength is more his mother than his father.
Yeah.
I also like we got a little more play with the rings,
right?
Which look kind of cool, right?
I mean, it's the whole concept is cool that they are finally bringing us back from Iron Man 3 and having Colin Slatery, or what was his name, the guy played by Ben Kingsley.
It's Slater. It is Slatery.
Yeah, Colin. I think it's Colin Slatery, or something. Anyway, the or actually no, the short that they had at the end of whatever it was, or not the end of whatever it was, but on the DVD of something.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember which of those one shots with what movie.
Yeah.
Anymore.
That short is hilarious, though.
Yeah.
And, but it kind of shows that there's still a continuation of 10 Rings.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited. You just give me Michelle Yeoh giving words of wisdom and Aquafina, and I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
That's one thing you brought up before we did this, but like there is a lot of Aquafina in the teaser.
Yeah.
Not a lot in this one. And it's almost like
she only had one little
line
thing. Yeah.
And like I have the figures for it, right? I think the problem is like the whole pandemic messed up the schedule for like marketing and stuff. That's my fear, is that all this marketing stuff is like out now.
Yeah.
The toys are out now, and it's not coming out for another 2 months. Ish, 2-3 months, and that's why I didn't film any of the unboxings for that yet, because I don't know what their characters are. Like when I do my unboxing, I kind of talk about the characters, and I have nothing to say except this is Aquafina. She was awesome in Raya.
Right.
I don't know his sister. I don't know her story.
Oh, I just read it that I think she's like his best friend or something like that.
Yeah, Aquafina.
And she's not in the comics.
No, but her figure makes her like, that's the thing. Like her figure makes it seem like she's got a bigger role than just friend sidekick outside of his whole, I don't know, Mandarin 10 Rings life. But
yeah,
and she comes with a thing. That's why I didn't want to do it also, because like there might be some spoilery things in it. But again, I'm not even sure what it would be spoiling. But there's something that like she comes with another thing
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know where that plays in, but it could be kind of potentially spoilery. Um, that's why I haven't done any of the unboxings. But like, I just feel like all those things are like peg warmers right now because no one knows who those characters are. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because every time I go to the store, I see them all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I wanted to pick them up, but I have to wait until July. I wanted at least Katie and Shanks
yeah. Um, I
until I get to know the other character. And then,
the one I did not pick up is Mandarin. Only because I'm like,
really?
only because I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna do a different version of him
Hmm.
that we
Oh,
haven't
you mean yeah,
seen.
like
Right?
that looks more like the Mandarin?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's like just Wenwu, right?
yeah, he just looks like a dude in a suit. So
Right.
not in like a
Like just some
like
guy.
some guy. Literally could be like generic bad guy, right?
Right.
But like the Mandarin, from the comics, he's very iconic. So I'm like, I wonder if it's gonna be like a different version of him. That's why I was like,
I hope that they oh good. I'm glad that we've intrigued you.
nice. Yeah, it looks good. Like, um, I'm curious though, since this is now phase 4.
Yeah. They want to know what the figure comes with.
I mean, if you want to look, like if you go to Target, her figure is usually there because, like I said, like there's no like, people who buy the toys don't know who those characters are yet. The movie hasn't come
Yeah.
out, but you can see if you go to the figure aisle and you look, you can tell which one's Aquafina because it looks like Aquafina.
Yeah.
And there's a weird thing that comes with her figure, and I don't know exactly where it plays in the movie, but
Now I got to look at it. I was there earlier today when I saw her, but I didn't look at the accessories. So now I'm gonna look at it.
we looked it up offline when I showed you like these figures are coming out, and we had to look it up. So,
Yeah, definitely
yeah.
look at it.
Um, I was also wondering if there's gonna be a different version of the dragon out, but I had to
Right.
pick that up before they're like, oh, it's been out here and now it's just on clearance and they get rid of it. Um, but yeah, yeah. But there's like the figure version of it that
Yeah, I
I
need
might
to see
want
the
to pick it
figure.
up.
I'm sure you would want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I sometimes I don't look at things closely enough, so I totally know what you mean. All right, huh?
Honestly, the only reason why I noticed before I bought it was because that figure was priced a little bit more than the normal ones. So there was more to it. So I'm like, huh, I wonder why that is. And then I know that's when I saw she came with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like even then, right now, I still don't know what it is, really. So
Yeah.
that's part of it. It's like I don't know what it is that comes with her. Um, but it came with her, so I'm assuming it plays some role in her character.
Right.
Because it came with her specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. Jessica Drew is rumored to be the Spider-Woman in the Olivia Wilde film, which is going to be part of the Sony Spider-Verse. I wish that it would be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Although they are being really cryptic about, like Morbius and the fact that it has Vulture in it.
Yeah, I'm sure it has to do with probably some negotiation
Mm-hmm.
things between Marvel and Sony.
because that they want their characters to be in Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah.
but Marvel can't just drop what they're doing and do all the Spider-Verse character.
Right.
So they're not going to do it in the time that they want them to do it. So
Yeah, I'm curious, because like at least so if I was Sony, like what I would be kind of negotiating is like, okay, we do kind of like the individual movies, but we would like the Sinister Six, Seven, Sinister Six, Seven.
mm-hmm.
That movie to be like the big movie, right? And maybe Marvel takes that because they're good at that.
Yeah.
Right? Like Sony Pictures works with Marvel to establish the characters in their own way that they do with Spider-Man now and also Morbius and whoever else, like Venom. Right?
Right.
But then bring them all together in a good way. And that, Marvel's track record on that is like superb. So, if I was Sony, it'd be like, that's what I would probably try to do is have, like, we can take care of the individual movies, like how Marvel does, right? But we would like you guys a little bit more. Like, we'll give you the characters, or can you bring them into the MCU in a like event movie?
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, she's still like Spider-Woman. Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. To me is like she's got the most
she's
awesome.
She's
awesome costume. Like just her look. I love her look.
I like her new costume, the one that's a little less sexified.
Is it different?
Huh?
You gotta know what the.
They changed it like a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And she's got like goggles on, and so I can't remember exactly what else she's got.
I mean,
but a little less of a catsuit kind of. Yeah.
Well, it's even if they bring her to the big screen, it's not going to be that.
Right.
They're going to make it look like it, but be more practical.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely adapt the one that she has.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had no idea though Olivia Wilde would be Spider-Woman.
Well, we knew she was doing something.
Right.
The assumption was that it made sense. That then it was like her coming on board, but then also the rumors of a Spider-Woman movie. So they everyone kind of put two and two together. Like that's got to be what she's working on, right?
Yeah.
I hope it is. Right. It's still like not official. Right. They haven't really come out officially and said any of this. But what's interesting about Jessica Drew, like in the most when I was collecting comics recently, she was part of the Avengers at some point, but like she also has ties to S.H.I.E.L.D. So I wonder if that will play out in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Especially the S.H.I.E.L.D. connection.
I mean, that would be cool if they allowed S.H.I.E.L.D. So. All right. Well, Joel P. West is going to be scoring Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and he has worked with the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, and the two of them worked on Short Term 12 and Just Mercy, which stars Marvel alums Michael B. Jordan, Brie Larson, and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
I'm not familiar with
it. Couldn't tell you what his style is or whatnot. But
I would have loved for them to have gotten I forget her name, Rachel something, but she scored Joy Club, and they also took they were inspired by her score for Mulan,
Oh.
the live action. So she has a very, it's very um, Chinese sounding, and
Right, right.
right. So anyway, not that this guy isn't going to do a good job, but I
Right.
hope that it's something similar.
Indeed.
All right. Well, let's move on to Lucasfilm news. Disney Plus Willow, it has added Outlander director Stephen Wolfenden. Wolfenden.
Sure.
Yeah, Wolfenden. um, yeah, that series seems to be shaping up.
Yeah.
I'm curious if I've noticed that Marvel, with their series, have had one director do the whole series. Did you notice that? Like WandaVision had Matt Shackman,
Yeah.
and then Winter Soldier had I forgot the name, Kate something. Anyway, to make a long story short, one director,
Right.
but then like Mandalorian has several directors. So I wonder which route they'll go. I mean, I'm neither here nor there. I mean, it's kind of cool to see different directors
Right.
take on different episodes, but then at the same time, it's kind of cool to have somebody that is continuous.
I mean, depend. Like so far though, like the Marvel show have been very much like a longer movie. The Mandalorian does play out like episodes. Like this is the mission of the day. This is
Right.
the so, and all episodes don't like. There's different feels to them. So having several directors, like you can totally tell which one was directed by like it's very easy to tell which one was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And things like that. So like that made sense for the Mandalorian. I'm curious how they're going to handle Obi-Wan, director wise. I mean, we know it's oh my god, I'm blanking on who's doing it. She was one of the directors of
Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow. Yeah, like I know she's show running, but I don't think she's directing.
Right, I don't know.
Or how Andor is going to play. I don't know who's directing Andor, if it's multiple or whatever.
Right.
I know when we know, at least with Book of Boba Fett, Robert Rodriguez directed several of those episodes.
Yeah.
Or at least more than one, it sounds like. So, I think for Lucasfilm,
they like to do different directors.
I think because like they are moving towards like Marvel's had years of kind of successful movies with different directors,
right?
Whereas Lucasfilm, I feel like they want to go with different directors for things, but it's such a different kind of universe that they need people who are I don't say competent, but like people who have vision, but can also play in the universe, right? And I think that's one of the things like they weren't able to solidly do with the sequel series, like, and even like the other movies, like Rogue One.
Yeah.
I mean, all their movies, really, if you think about it. Like the sequel series had its problems with moving from JJ to Rian Johnson and back to J, and then to, who was it that was doing 3 first?
Rick or something like that.
It was the guy who did Jurassic World.
Oh, Colin. What is his name?
Trevorrow?
Colin Trevorrow. Trevorrow. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then they went to JJ again.
Right. Right.
Rogue One famously went like it's still like a Gareth Edwards movie, but we know like Tony Gilroy did a lot of like the reshoots and did a lot of redoing of things.
Mm-hmm.
And of course with Solo, between Philip Lord and then going to Ron Howard. So they've had issues with directors.
Right.
But with The Mandalorian, I feel like because it's short form and, it's under the guidance of both Favreau and Filoni.
Dave Filoni, yeah.
I think that, what's it called?
Thanks for joining us, Tim and Clarissa. And I look forward to seeing your box swap video.
Yep, thanks for stopping by. And hope you find Aquafina in Target.
Yeah.
I feel like then they can take the approach in the Star Wars series stuff to really work with directors and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe it'll be one director, maybe it'll be multiple directors for Lucasfilm unless the show itself is very much like a continuous story that is more like a broken up movie than an episodic series. Right. Because it could be argued that even WandaVision was one continuous movie. It's broken up.
It is. Yeah, pretty much
right.
Is. All right. Well, moving on, Harrison Ford injured himself, his shoulder, on Indiana Jones 5. Man, that guy keeps ticking. I mean, like, what did he, like,
he
twisted his ankle
crushed or something by the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and, Millennium Falcon. Then he dropped out of the sky into a golf course.
Into a golf course.
Yeah, and now he's like injured his shoulder, and boy, I tell you, I could not handle that kind of abuse. I'd be like, all right, I retire now.
I mean, even in there's something happened to him on Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. I just remember in the making of like Steven Spielberg talking about like Harrison's going under some weird papaya something treatment and he'll be fine.
That's so funny.
But like,
well, I mean, it is very strenuous. I mean, the thing is like,
he's not young anymore.
Yeah. That's a thing.
I just hope he's okay. Like okay.
I'm sure that
the shoulder injury can be, but like also with age, like it takes longer to heal. So
yeah. Like my mom's husband, his wrist has been taking forever to heal. He broke it.
Yeah. No. So luckily they've said that they're filming stuff without him. So at least some production can keep going.
Right.
But he's Indiana Jones, so there's only so much you can do without him. But yeah, I hope he'll be okay, and I hope after this, that's it. Like, don't like hang up the hat. We don't need to see like 85-year-old Indiana Jones like cracking the whip and stuff. We don't want to read Harrison Ford, injures his ankle for Indiana Jones 8.
Right. Yeah, it just
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, all good things come to an end, and unfortunately, I think that he's now at a time where he just, he's got, I'm sure, more money than God. Yeah, I don't think that he necessarily needs to do these things.
I mean, like I was watching, those clips of the Graham Norton TV show, and there was this one where they're talking to Samuel L. Jackson, and he was like, "So I heard you you were dethroned as the highest paid actor. And he's like, yep. And he got dethroned by Harrison Ford. And he kept going like, I take it from him, he takes it from me. It's a back and forth. So I'm pretty sure he's
doing well.
Good.
Yeah,
he's good. But like he's also, I don't think I mean money is a thing, but like I think he still enjoys acting. So it's not like like, and he loves. He really loves this character, right?
Yeah, he loves this character. But I mean, there's so many other roles he can do. Like, did you see the movie 42? He was
great in that movie.
And I'm trying to think of some of his more recent roles. But anyway, just that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's still outside of Han Solo and Indiana Jones, he's still a good actor and other things. So, Fugitive, Air Force One.
Air Force One, yeah. All right. Oh, God. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, he can do whatever he wants, but like, take it easy, dude. We don't want you to we don't want to hear your demise came from something on set.
Right. That's the thing. It's like, at one point you have to just admit to yourself that you're getting up there, and there's no shame in that.
But
no shame at all.
I think, like, judging just by how Mangold treated Logan and his last run, like Hugh Jackman's last run as Wolverine, I hope we get like that level of like a movie where it's still Indiana Jones, but like it'll be a good send off to the character.
Yeah, and then
they recast and tell earlier stories of someone else. I honestly would be fine with like them, doing the Adventures of Indiana Jones with a younger actor, but like going back in time, all those different eras that they did. So, and like we talked about last time, like Harrison Ford's not the only person who played Indiana Jones, so it's not like he's the only Indiana Jones. There have been 3 other actors who played Indiana Jones. So
yeah, people need to get off their high horse about casting, with the exception of Carrie Fisher as a player. She will always be. No, actually, I wouldn't mind them casting for a younger. Yeah, for a younger. Like, I wouldn't want them to recast her. Well, they can't because she's dead.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I mean,
if you haven't watched it,
I mean, like, it would be one thing to recast kind of like how they did with like Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard, like in the middle of the run where it's the same character, like same age, same whatever, or like Dumbledore. That's weird, but like after a while you get used to it. But like they're kind of like Harrison. If they said we're gonna do Indiana Jones 5 that takes place in the 60s with a different actor playing Indiana Jones, that's when I'm like, why? And as Harrison can play that role still, because you're still appropriate age for Indiana Jones with the actor.
Yeah.
If they said we want to go back to the 30s and the 40s and tell more stories then,
right?
And we're recasting, like, that makes sense.
Like, I would love to see something that is a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, because and how did he?
Tell that story.
How did he? Develop that rivalry with Belloc and all that stuff. Or was it Belloc?
I mean, there was there's a history with Belloc, definitely.
Yeah.
And then the whole Marion and
story. I want to see that story too. Yeah.
And then, like, how does he go from River Phoenix in like a Boy Scouts to archaeologist professor? Right. What's his first adventure? How does he meet Short Round? Right. Which is also technically the prequel to Indiana or Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
So they can open it up to, you know, those kind of adventures where it's like the one-off movies, but whatever. So there's a lot of stories you can tell with Indiana Jones. Like I said, like it's kind of like James Bond with Batman. You just keep telling stories with that character.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is a good time to do it. Like Mangold comes in, closes the chapter on Indiana Jones, like tells his last story, but then we go back and tell all the other stories with a different actor. Like I mean, I'm good with Alden Ehrenreich playing young Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a Han and Chewie show or another movie. I definitely don't mind seeing a bunch of movies that take place in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens with a young someone else cast as Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Because one, it makes no sense to make those, even like a couple years ago when Carrie was still alive. It makes no sense to tell the story right after Return of the Jedi with those actors. Like,
yeah,
it's like why? We want to see, everyone wants to see Luke. The Luke we saw at the end of the second season of Mandalorian.
Yes.
But like his own adventure, like him at the height of his powers, and whatever, and also seeing Leia, as a Jedi of some sort, right? How does it look to have Han Solo as your father with Chewie, right?
Yeah.
Little Ben Solo hanging out with the Millennium Falcon,
right? Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool to see, like the early beginnings of Ben Solo, to see like how did he go from where he like being the son of two legendary war heroes to Kylo Ren, but yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next story. So Disneyland's Star Wars Rise of the Resistance has hit new records. It's gone up to boarding group 330, while Walt Disney World, I guess, has yet to hit 200.
That is crazy to me.
I know, and you can't really blame the rain because it's all inside. And I mean, unless
the parts that would break are with the things inside. I mean, there's a part where you go outside, but that's like a lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know, because I remember, before the pandemic, like being there and getting like number like 90 something, and I didn't get on because it broke down a couple times or whatever. So hitting, even if they said we finally reached 200, I'd be like, wow, that's a milestone.
Yeah.
Considering what it was before. But them hitting 300 boarding groups, like, that's crazy.
330.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
But
I don't know. Whatever they're doing, continue to do it.
That's the one thing that I'm glad now is that so once the June 15th like things were lifted, the ride is back to what it was, because like when it opened, there was some of the pre-show stuff that they got rid of, or you skipped over, which was too bad for people who that's their first experience, because the BB-8 Rey pre-show part is amazing, and also the Smuggler's Run. So you skip over the Hondo part, and he's an awesome animatronic, to watch. Right, so I'm glad at least that those parts are back into the ride. So, but I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between the two coasts. I wonder if it's because, like Disney World's been operating almost like their hiatus was very, very short. So I wonder
Yeah.
if the hiatus allowed Disneyland to really go into like the mechanics of it and
Mechanics.
make
Yeah.
adjustments and like fix things because it was closed, so they can just stop operating and fix whatever. Where they can't really do that at Disney World because I think they only had like a month
Right.
where they were closed. So kind of like like I wonder how big the changes are to Jungle Cruise because Disneyland just closed, so they just did the work they needed to do. Whereas Disney World, they're still operating Jungle Cruise while they're
Hmm.
doing all this kind of thing. So, you know, um,
I wonder
hopefully,
if they'll ever go like take away the virtual um, boarding pass. I mean, the queue was long enough to board a line. So I'm just curious as to whether in the future they're
I
gonna.
it really depends. I honestly don't think they're going to get rid of it. If anything, it's going to be kind of like some version of it combined with Fast Pass, Max Pass. Um, I mean, the reason why it's hard to get on is because everyone wants to get on it. But once
Yeah.
things settle, and there's other like once say Mickey's whatever it's called, the Runaway
Runaway
Railroad
Railway.
opens, like there's gonna be a lot of traffic to there,
Hmm.
right? And things like that.
Yeah.
When Avengers, like the A ride at Avengers Campus, because like people need to remember like Web Slingers is not meant to be the main attraction in that
Hmm.
land. It's the Avengers Quinjet ride that is
Hmm.
supposed to be the Rise of Resistance ride. The Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon was like the B ride of Galaxy's Edge, whereas Rise of Resistance is the A ride,
Right.
or I don't know, the E-ticket ride, if anyone
Hmm.
remembers that system.
Right.
So I think once like so then you'll have like and then Cars Land like the Cars ride is still it's a highly also sought over ride, right? But having that Smuggler's Run, Rise Resistance, Mickey's Runaway Railroad, Avengers stuff, maybe because there's only two parks, can mitigate the crowds and give like whatever they're gonna do with like the memberships.
Hmm.
Maybe like the crowd levels will be not as high as they used to be,
Yeah.
where it just became unbearably like you know. And then there's a problem with like the annual pass. Like people just went, and then you get wait times, like ridiculous wait times for rides that like are an hour for like the simplest rides, right? Maybe then they'll do something, but I think they like the virtual queue version of it because one, it does allow you to not waste your time in a line for 3 hours.
Hmm.
Because if they're not waiting in line, they're elsewhere in the park, eating food, buying merchandise, something. So I don't think they're gonna get rid of it. I think it's gonna be here to stay
Hmm.
in some form, and I'm fine with it. The only reason why we don't like it is because it's hard to get in, but it's because everyone right now wants to get on those rides.
Right.
And also combined with the fact that it's super limited capacity, so there's even less available slots to get on, right?
Well, I'm not talking about like now. I'm talking about in the future.
Yeah, I'm saying like it's still gonna like how long has Cars Land been open? That ride
Mm-hmm.
and that line is still super long. Like if you don't get a
Mm-hmm.
fast pass right away, that there's no point in waiting that line. I'm not gonna wait in that line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Rise Resistance getting to the point where it's we just get in line and not have to wait 3 hours. It's gonna still be a long wait. So I think the virtual ride, the virtual queue is fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
just we need to see how it works in normal operating status.
Right.
Combined with all the other rides that have virtual queue, and see how that mitigates the wait times and whatever. But I don't
Yeah.
see that ride being unpopular to the point where it doesn't need some sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so in our final story, there was an interview with the AV Club with Star Wars The Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland. And she discussed her fandom and the formation of the writer's room. And she's been a fan since she was a kid. She was not only a fan of the movies, but comics and books. And she played the RPG, where which really solidified her love for Star Wars. And she said that's my favorite version of Star Wars, the Star Wars where you get to make up your own Star Wars. She also mentioned that the group of writers she formed consists of both hardcore fans and people who have never seen Star Wars, which is crazy. Um, but anyway, the Acolyte is set to film in London next year.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing more of that, hopefully.
Yeah. And like the Acolyte to me is where I'm probably the most curious and most excited for, because it's in an era we've not touched upon in any moving media, like cartoons, animation, movies, show, whatever.
Right.
It's like that, and it's the tail end of the High Republic era. So even in the books, it's an era that we're not sure what's going on in that era yet. Um, you know, of course, fans are up in arms about the whole. How can you have someone not know what Star Wars is? Write it. My argument to that is that Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams are huge Star Wars fans, and that divided the Star Wars fandom. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be good because you're a hardcore fan. On the opposite end of that, Tony Gilroy has said that he's not even a fan of Star Wars. And if you like Rogue One, which I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who hate Return of the Last Jedi really love Rogue One, that was done by someone who doesn't like Star Wars.
That's crazy.
So it's really about storytelling. If Leslie Headland can get a bunch of writers that are super good at what they do and have a mix of people who love Star Wars and people who don't know Star Wars, it puts them in check. I always say, like, sometimes the fans have such a reverence for things that they're too biased for things. That's how we get, like the story of the books once the original trilogy was done and before the prequels. Timothy Zahn was brought on to really launch this era of books that are now known as legends with the Thrawn trilogy, right? He wrote 3 novels that were like amazing. I remember reading as a kid, and it truly felt like episodes 7, 8, and 9. So much so that you're reading the characters. It's Luke and it's Han and Leia and Lando. You hear the voices. You can hear a John Williams soundtrack when you're reading it.
Yeah.
The problem is then it opened the doors, and then they brought in a whole bunch of writers to write a whole bunch of books, and a lot of them were super fans. And what you get is almost fanficky versions of things where the Jedi because everyone loves the Jedi were super overpowered to the point where it's ridiculous what they were able to do. Because as a fan, you're like, I want to see the Jedi. So much so they literally had to bring in Zahn back to regulate that again and like explain in his books like what happened to the Jedi and how Luke went from having the Jedi be like basically superheroes of the universe to what they were, whereas they're students of the Force.
Right.
So the argument that you have to be a super fan of Star Wars doesn't hold water. Mm-hmm. Because we've had a lot of super fans write really crummy stories. So, everyone talks about the Legends books. Like, I honestly still say, like, 80% of those stories are not great. Mm-hmm. The ones that are good. But those aren't the majority, I would say. So,
right.
If I was show running anything, especially in something that's well versed in some kind of fandom universe, Star Trek, Star Wars, mm-hmm. Harry Potter, I would love to have people who really, really understand the universe, with them people who really are good at storytelling that might not know the universe, because you can say like, "What if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this?" Because it's very Star Wars, and then someone who doesn't know Star Wars being like, "Why? Like, mm-hmm. why would you do that? Because it's cool, or does it make sense story wise?" And they go, "Oh, okay." So, I'm hoping that like this. I mean, this makes sense for any kind of team to put together. Like even like Favreau, he's a fan, but he's not a super fan, right? Yeah. That's why he has Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Right? Favreau probably couldn't tell you a lot of the little things that most hardcore fans would know. Someone like me, I probably know more about Star Wars than Favreau does, right?
Although he didn't know about the ice cream maker.
Yeah, but that's like from what I've seen from the making of, like he's still a casual fan. He might be more high on that list, but like he's still a casual fan.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he's gonna tell you what happened in any of the video games. I'm pretty sure he's gonna tell you everything that happened in Clone Wars, and I'm pretty sure he might not have watched Rebels. Right. So again, hardcore fandom doesn't equal good, because remember also there's a campaign for the fans to write a Star Wars movie. Yeah, and that would have ended disastrously because everyone has different opinions.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that people would like it. My comment was more that I'm surprised that there are writers out there that have never tried to watch Star Wars, because it's such an iconic film that you would think that you would at least have seen it in, film class or something, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that somebody hadn't seen Star Wars before. So.
No, I believe it wholeheartedly, because I work with a lot of young people. So, yeah. Like Leslie Helen is not like old. So I understand exactly where she's coming from. I know there's people who don't, as much as it's weird for me. But working with a very young group of employees that I have, it's become increasingly common to have people who have not watched any of the Star Wars things, or really don't, like, they know, kind of like for a long time I've known of Doctor Who, but I didn't really know Doctor Who,
right,
and things like that. We, especially us, we live in a very pop culture world, but not everyone is like that, and Star Wars, even if we were just talking about the prequels, I mean, that was still 20 years ago. So there's gonna be a lot of people who didn't watch those movies. So it's not as uncommon as it seems. So I buy it. I buy it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, what are you, weird? Go watch it. Like, it's on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Mine was more like about writers, like in Hollywood, who have never seen Star Wars stuff. It just seems weird to me, but anyway, neither good nor there.
I mean, you're talking like a 50-year-old movie ish. I mean,
Yeah.
not 50, but like 40, whatever. But, you know, I barely remember The Godfathers. And I'm a.
Right, but I mean, I'm talking about specifically writers in Hollywood.
Yeah. It's an old IP. You know what I mean? Not all the creatives are going to watch or deal with, especially if you're not a fan of science fiction.
You're not a fan of what?
Science fiction.
Oh. I think you said Frank's Kitchen. Like, oh.
I mean, like, the Harry Potter books are, like, both literary and, you know, cinematic IPs. Mm-hmm. And if someone said, I have not watched or read any of the Harry Potter books, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, I will buy into that.
Yeah. Again, like, my experience, like, I've worked with a lot of young people. Okay. And I work in a very creative industry. So I truly understand that people aren't, you know, it's kind of like the whole argument about Disney remakes, and people are like, why do this when you have The Lion King already? Mm-hmm. It's like, because younger kids don't gravitate towards old stuff.
Right.
And for a very long time, both the original trilogy and the prequels were considered old stuff. As personified by Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Where you have to remember that old movie, The Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, we have come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post. Like, smash that like button. You can always reach us on Twitter at CCC Disney Vlogcast, on Instagram at Castle Cakes and Clones, and visit our website at www.castlecakesandclones.com. Reach me on Twitter personally at LowJav, and on Instagram at Loren and Rich. How about you, Rich?
You reach me at R2 Romosanta on both Twitter and Instagram.
All right. Well, the opinions expressed on today's vlogcast are solely our own and do not represent the Walt Disney Company, its subsidiaries, or assets. Thanks so much for watching us, and we will see you later. Bye.
Yep. Catch you on the flip side.